And as always, we're going to be looking for accurate context, good risk management, and always exercising good patience.
Anytime you're talking about fundamentals in a market and direction, fundamentals take a little bit of time to play out.
We got crude oil today, kind of trading yesterday's value area really nicely, low to high.
That's what we're here for, is to put ourselves in the best success. A trading routine does that, builds that habit, lets you know what to work on, what to reflect on, and what to improve on the next day.
Good morning and welcome to the market forecast for Wednesday, August the 18th. I'm John Hoagland. As always, thanks for trusting me with your time this morning. Hopefully the markets are being good to you so far. Not seeing any really big opportunities. We are expecting some big economic numbers today, but it is, again, Wednesday, group coaching day. I'm going to pop the link into the chat right now so you can sign up. I've got some really good questions already for today's session. I do enjoy Wednesdays. It's kind of the middle of the story of the markets for the week. I seem to kind of capsulize what happens in the markets into like 5-day stories, and we're in the middle of that story today. So it's going to be another interesting and challenging trading day. We're always looking to find accurate context in the market, looking to manage our risk well, and always looking for infinite patience in these markets. As this morning we have economic numbers out, the housing starts and permits. Permits were higher, starts were lower, a little divergence in there, and it's taking a little bit of time, I think, for the markets to digest that. 9:30, the EIA crude numbers due out, and then, of course, 1 o'clock today, the FOMC minutes due out. A lot of traders going to be focusing on what they're talking about, how they talk, how they say things, as we might see a little bit of muted activity because of the importance of this FOMC release due out. Again, 1 o'clock today. As far as everything else, the U.S. equities are set to open sharply mixed to steady in early trade after coming off of the all-time highs a couple of days ago with one of the biggest down days we've seen in weeks. Is it going to be Lowe's and Target to the rescue? Both of those chains have smashed earnings expectations, giving hope to brick-and-mortar stores. NVIDIA and Cisco are due out after the close. This should pretty much wind up our quarter two earnings season. The API announced a 1.2 million barrel draw in crude stocks yesterday. We're expecting the government report, the EIA, about a 1 million barrel draw. Seems quite often that they miss on that. We've got some other interesting things going on in crude oil we'll talk about here very shortly. As always, we ask that you smash the lucky like button. Share, question, comment, feedback, and heckling are, of course, always welcome. And make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can get notified when we do go live. Looking just a few minutes ago at the VIX 1797, pretty steady from where it finished the day yesterday. The dollar index down slightly at 93.06, back above 93, but down from settlement yesterday. And the 10-year yield at 1.28%, approximately. Looking forward to another interesting and always challenging trading day, right? I'm going to say hello to everybody. Ed Nelson, first one in the room this morning. Good morning. You win the prize. First in the room. Brian, good to see you. Theo, always good to see you. George, the best trader community, thank you very much. We think so too. Bill, good morning. Ryan, Jim, Fred Decker, reminding everybody that October is now the front month in crude oil. We should be trading October today. Very timely as the market just opens up. Brett, good morning. My brother Rick, I love you. Talk to you soon. Andre, Brett, what should have been a nice profitable morning turned into a small losing one? Stupid greed. Yes. The green-eyed monster greed tends to push us into trading outside of our strategy. And Always something to be aware of. Brett, you know about it. Now it's time to act when you feel that green-eyed monster coming at you. Good morning, Stacking Bananas, my man Vince. Good morning. Yes, it does happen. Deanna, good morning. George, Zurain, Drones over Texas, good morning. Fred, we've all turned profitable days into losing days at one time or another. Absolutely. Got to keep your head up. There's always something to learn, always more to know in trading. Good trades, bad trades, they all teach us something. Good morning, Laura. Brett, Stacking Bananas. Yeah, I felt it happening too. Just shut down the charts and left for work. Sometimes that's what we have to do, but maybe a little bit before that. When you see that green-eyed monster, that's telling you something. Greg H., good morning, Subconscious. Joe West, good morning to you. Jerry is awake. I hope John is too. James, good morning. Nelson, KM, Fred, crude oil created an inside day yesterday. Wanted to be prepared, so go with any breakouts from balance. Good idea, Fred. We talked about yesterday about there possibly being a repair day. It's exactly what happened. And sometimes after those repair days, we can see some momentum or some action. So we'll take a look at that shortly. Good morning, Steve N. Gotta heckle you for the bedhead. I can feel sometimes Mom licking their hand smooth out over my ear. Oh, is that? Mom, gotta put that. I just went casual today. I don't have bedhead. It's just sticking out a little bit there. Thanks for noticing, though, Drones. Ange, Nick Enns, Alhaji, good morning from Belgium, and Robert S. It's good to see everybody, as always. We're going to take a look into the charts here and let's get set up here. Got the daily and crude. Let's take a look. All right. Bedhead. Sheesh. Although I do enjoy a good heckling. All right. Crude. Yesterday we suggested a repair day. A repair day is what we had yesterday. Now, there's a little bit of new information in the marketplace. If you've kind of been watching, Iran is edging closer to weapons-grade uranium, which is going to it's going to cause it to be much more difficult to ease some of the sanctions enforcement. That's going to make it more difficult for Iranian oil to get into the world marketplace, which has a little bit of an uptick in our crude today. Market really staying very close to that weekly kickoff low here, which is 66.80. Just kind of going back to it. Every time it moves away from it, it goes back to it. Now, what Fred is talking about, when we break out of this range, there may be a bigger opportunity in that direction. Still, volume and open interest blurry. It's switch day. We still don't see very clear volume or open interest. Overall, we lost 20,000 in open interest. It was almost 40,000 in the September contract. So overall, we actually maybe increased open interest in the future months by about 20,000. It just makes it blurry. Weekly kickoff low looking to be somewhat magnetic. Just looking at yesterday, Fred, we were talking about, repairing some of the toothiness of the volume profile as well as the market profile yesterday, and we opened in the middle of the value area. So that tells us that there's little change in the perception of value of a barrel of crude oil, and that we probably want to stay relatively patient looking for better trade locations as the day goes on. We discussed the point of control the day before as one of those target levels to look for an opportunity. And then we talked about the high volume node just below value low as another opportunity to look for to look for an execution, to maybe find some fish. And it's exactly what we did yesterday. We opened, we looked lower, we traded close to point of control, not actually getting to it yesterday. We moved all the way back down to the low volume node near value low from yesterday before ending the regular trading hour session. What do we have today? We have settlement right here, 66.34. Put that on your charts. And where are we? Well, we may have some overnight longs here. We may be just kind of looking for information. Of course, we have EIA due out today. The weekly kickoff low currently is the 2.5 day point of control. Watch this. If I expand this volume profile all the way to the end, look where point of control ends up. It is at the weekly kickoff level. Sometimes this tends to happen as longer time frame traders take their time making any decisions in this area, and especially during rollover. So now we see that the weekly kickoff level, which is an area we were expecting longer time frame traders to adjust inventory, has become more of a decision-making area, taking their time making that decision, again, probably due to rollover. So our 2.5 day point of control is the weekly kickoff level to the T. So what do we do about that? Well, I'm going to be avoiding taking trades at the weekly kickoff level, as it is the warm and fuzzy area where most of the trade has occurred in the last 2.5 days. I'm going to be looking for opportunities at the extremes. Again, this point of control, overnight low, interesting areas to find fish. Question is, are we going to remain range bound, or are we going to break out? In the case of breaking out upon acceptance, we go with the breakout. Establish what's acceptance, especially during rollover. It's going to be a challenging trading day. But again, I'm looking more towards this point of control that we almost got to yesterday, and to our overnight low / value low from yesterday for opportunities. We're in range, in value, patience. You guys must be sick of hearing me saying patience. All right, here's the S&Ps. We've been talking about the idea that the momentum may be starting to fall off to the upside for the last couple, even month. Okay, the market we've been discussing the fact that it's been kind of struggling to keep this move to the upside going, although it just keeps going. It's the little market that could. These equities do amazing things. What we have here, if you're looking at candlestick, is a potential bearish engulfing pattern. This is a pattern that we see a lot. We saw it right here. It didn't continue to play out. The market just rotated, fell into balance, adjusted inventory, and then continued its march back to the upside. Are we expecting bad news? Are there things in the world that are scaring potential investors? Yes, there's always those things. We had volume higher yesterday. We lost 2,800 in open interest. That tells me that this isn't new business selling into this market thinking they're going to be able to take profits at a later time. This yesterday acts and feels more like a long liquidation event, and we talk about those happening from time to time as well, usually closer to the end of the week. Yesterday was Tuesday. Why not? We see where we're at in the daily. I mean, we basically traded to last week's low. We also traded to a naked point of control almost to the T. Take a look at this. It's just amazing how, that's not the right one. It's just amazing how visual markets really are. So last week's low, just below this naked point of control. Last week's low was actually the session after that. this naked point of control was definitely a visual target for this downside move. There's another one just below it. There's another one down here. But this move to the downside ended at last week's low and this naked point of control, and then actually turned out to close not too bad in the upper quarter of the regular trading hour session. Where are we now? Well, we've got settlement right here, 44.43.50. We didn't really have any overnight inventory with which to work with. However, we are starting to see this market head to the downside now. Are we expecting more downside? Do we have the information? Do we have the visual targets to draw us down there? And I believe that we do. I think we've got that naked point of control here. We've got weekly kickoff low down below that. We've started since the high here to put in lower highs, lower low yesterday. We've yet to see what happens here today, but I'm going to be cautious inside value. Watch the opening range trade. It might be interesting for us today. And again, keep in mind that we have important information coming out in the FOMC minutes. It may be a non-event. There may just be nothing in there that's anything new than we've heard. But then again, it might be. Okay, this is getting a signal that I was having a little bit of trouble with the feed here. Let me do something and see if I can help that. Okay, that should help. It looks like I'm still having a little bit of trouble. I apologize for this, folks. We should be in good shape now. Okay, I think we're back now. So, again, patience. Watch that opening range trade in the S&Ps. Let's take a look at the Nasdaq. The mystery of the Nasdaq. Yesterday, I didn't mention this in the S&Ps, but there was a signal that there was going to be some downside activity yesterday. I'm going to go back to the S&Ps just for a hot second here. We had a late spike at the end of the day when we put in this all-time high. This late spike, when we open below it, is rejection of higher pricing. That's what happened yesterday, and we took out some longs. Some longs got nervous about that. We had the same thing happen in the Nasdaq. The Nasdaq wasn't as deep a cut, I don't think, as it was in the S&Ps. We're still largely range-bound and short-time controlled here. We had some pretty decent volume on the way down. We added only 600 in open interest, so maybe a little bit less of a long liquidation and partly a new business to the downside look for the Nasdaq yesterday. Just kind of looking at the ending of yesterday's push to the downside, I don't see any known reason. There was no naked point of control, no previous swing low or swing high that brought forth that end to the downside here. Last week's low, however, is presenting as support. We looked below it on Monday and Tuesday. No acceptance. We're still holding above it now, and it looks like we're a little bit higher to open the session with. Let's take a look at the 30-minute chart. So settlement is here. We are right smack in the middle of value from yesterday. Settlement is 14,997.50 if you want to put that on your charts. We're right in the middle, right at the point of control. I'm not looking for anything really important to happen here on the open. Again, we've got an inside day. We've got FOMC minutes due out that may mute some of the activity today in our equities or even perhaps some of our other products. So I'm going to stay very patient today and look for opportunities as the day goes on. When we open in range and in value, there's a higher probability of better trade locations coming after the open than right in the open. Kind of similar to what we saw in crude oil yesterday. We opened in range in a repair type of situation, and a repair is what we got. Gold. This market is suspect to me. There's a pretty decent jump in open interest of about 10,000 contracts over the last two sessions. That's this session and this session, which are really presenting as indecisive. Okay, volume, a little bit better yesterday, but again, an indecisive day. Energy is building here. It's just knowledge. It's just because volume has begun to increase a little bit and we've brought in a little more open interest. There's something going on here. Direction is really kind of unknown at this point. So, we've got an inside extended trading hour range from yesterday. The market is closing in on itself, and something is likely to occur. When and what direction, again, we don't know. So we're going to be looking at location in the previous day's range. Well, we don't have any overnight inventory. Settlement is right here, 1787.80. No real inventory there, so we wait. We look for opportunities as the day goes on. We had an opportunity above value, below the overnight high here to look for a short, but why would we? I don't see that much reason other than value high from yesterday. We've got settlement down here. No real overnight inventory. Not seeing any huge reason to be in a rush to get into anything here. Our opening range is neither the high nor the low. The market is really just kind of hanging out in balance from yesterday. A little bit of repair perhaps for today. Could happen. And again, with FOMC, I'm going to be pretty quiet and just kind of stalking in the weeds. It looks to me like it could be a kind of a tricky day in gold. So be patient. And if you do have a good day, a good morning, don't let the green-eyed monster get you. All right, Euro. Well, looks like we had to clean up some unfinished business to the downside yesterday. We took out the weekly kickoff low. We tested to some unfinished business. We'll see that on the 30-minute chart. Last week's low is going to be somewhat pivotal today. The market really just drove right to it. That's last week's low. That's yesterday's low and close. We're still wrestling in that area, kind of opening in range. Volume was pretty good to the downside, and we did accumulate about 10,000 in open interest yesterday. So this is the downside move yesterday, more of a push into the short side, looking for lower pricing. We're going to see if we end up getting too short or if we can continue that move to the downside. The dollar is a little bit higher today, so that kind of keeps us in yesterday's range. And again, in value, settlement 117.16.5 ticks. Put that on your charts. No real overnight inventory, no real big rush to try and get into anything. Again, we have an inside. Well, not an inside from yesterday now, but inside value, this is looking like a target-rich area. There may be some fish down around last week's low, overnight low, yesterday's low, settlement. Point of control is relatively close to that level. I'm going to be looking possibly for some opportunities to find some fish between last week's low and yesterday's low. If we can't hold there, look out. But here's the business we were talking about finishing up yesterday. So we opened above a gap. We closed the gap just basically right after the open, right to weekly kickoff low. Took out this naked point of control, and there's nothing left below here. Not for a long time. Not for a long time is there anything left down here. So looking like maybe coming into a bottom, possibly. But if we can't hold this level, a move to the downside is certainly not out of the question. And for the 10-year, all right, we're moving right along here. We got time. All right, good. Three very indecisive days here. Where are we? We're right in the middle of weekly kickoff. We're at last week's high. It makes sense that there's just the market is taking a little bit of a breather here, it seems. Volume is good, but open interest, we lost 14,000 in open interest. Not a whole lot of energy coming into this market. Can change at any time, of course. Last week's high, currently looking supportive. 10-year, 30-minute. So, settlement, 134.08.5 ticks. Largely just kind of trading below value. That's a little bit interesting. I'm going to be looking for a little bit of a deeper move before I start to look for anything as far as buying opportunities. We do have a little bit of a gap left from here to here, so this gap takes us right to last week's high. That might be an interesting opportunity for us there, but we do have some unfinished business down below. A couple of naked points of control. So I'm not expecting a lot because of FOMC. Our treasuries are going to be very sensitive to anything that's said. So there's going to be some posturing and some hedging going on, but I'm not looking at anything very directional in those treasuries, at least not today, at least not early today. All right. So I'm going to I'm going to take my deep breath. I'm going to say I'm going to stay humble, grateful, and creative today. I am not going to let the green-eyed monster get me today. And we'll see you at 1 o'clock for the group coaching session. Looking forward to another good session. Looking forward to some good questions. And Fred, I'm going to give more. Oh, I hope that that's true. I hope I'm getting more and more viewers each morning. I'm glad. Thank you, Stacking Bananas. Yep, Fred, we were talking about the 2 volume nodes yesterday. And so I guess I'm going to get ready and see the equity open here. What do we got? We got about 2.5 minutes. I'm going to go brush my hair and be ready for the trading day. I'll see you all at 1 p.m. Central for the group coaching session. Hope to see you there. Hope to help. We're looking forward to seeing your success. Trade well today. Get out there